Hello, I'm Mark Scholaro, the owner of MS Classic Cars. Today, I'm sitting behind the steering wheel of a like-new 2004 Dodge Ram VCA Edition SRT10 that not only has 585 original miles, but it's one of 50 built and ever offered to the public. To start off this video here, this is a non-rehearsed video, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of information that I forget to mention during this presentation, so please visit our website at msclassiccars.com for a full description with over 150 highly detailed photos. Not only did we take a ton of highly detailed photos for this vehicle, but we also took photos of all of the paint marks, chalk marks, original tags in the engine compartment, undercarriage, and so forth. So it's very important that you check that out. To start off this video, also I'd like to mention, if you have not or have been following MS Classic Cars, you will realize I only collect #1 and #2 condition vehicles. We've been doing that since inception. I'm very proud to say that every vehicle that we sell goes through a very strict service and detail process. We are the only classic car dealership in the country who services every vehicle we sell, and we document the work with an invoice. What I also do for every vehicle, just like this vehicle here, I create a new binder with plastic sleeves. I put everything in order from beginning to end. All the documentation is done in these beautiful plastic sleeves for the new owner to read through and enjoy. So it's not like you get a box full of paperwork and you got to sort through everything. I take care of all that for you. So as this vehicle here sits, this first thing you'll see in this binder is the invoice for the work that we did at MS Classic Cars. You're probably wondering, vehicle only has 500 and change for original miles. What possibly could need to be serviced? But what people don't realize is even vehicles from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s that sit around for a while, they need to be sorted out. They need to be serviced. And that's exactly what we did to this truck. So we invested a total of $2,038.40. You can see this invoice within our photo gallery, again on our website at msclassiccars.com. One thing I will also mention in regards to the service, a lot of vehicles have recalls, especially the older vehicles. They don't ever make it back to the dealerships to do the recalls. The Car Fax reports indicate recalls need to be done and so forth. We took the initiative. We brought this to our local Dodge dealer. We drove it there. We had the recall that was outstanding on it, which has been completed. We do have the receipt, again, in our photo gallery to document that that's been done. Of course, when we took it to the Dodge dealership, everybody fell in love with the truck. Everybody wanted to buy it. It's one of those very special trucks. Talking about the Car Fax report, The Car Fax report is also pictured within our photo gallery. MS Classic Cars is a Car Fax dealer, so I did run a Car Fax on here. It shows clearly the make, model, VIN number, equipment, and so forth. It shows as a one-owner vehicle, which I'm going to get into in a minute. And of course, it shows its full history here and so forth. Again, you got to make sure to check that out. So let's start off by talking a little bit about this particular truck and the history behind the VCA edition SRT 10. Daimler Chrysler actually sent this original advertisement to a lot of people in regards to a raffle for this particular truck. And how it worked is you had to be an active 2003 or 2004 Viper Club of America member. If you were a member of the club during that time frame, then you qualified to purchase raffle tickets. Coincidentally, I have two original raffle tickets that are still here. This is what they looked at. And again, if you can't see all this stuff very clearly in this video here, you can clearly see it in our photo gallery on our website. So once again, these two raffle tickets here were kept. They were charged $100 per ticket. That's how it worked. And then you would get put into a lottery system, if you will. I think they ran maybe 5 or 6 different raffles for each group. And I think there was around 1,600, according to my notes, of tickets sold from each group. So what they did is they had all these raffles, and then of course the 50 people that won had first right to this particular truck here. It was a really cool thing that they did. They actually made 52 in total. The 2 that were not offered through the raffle were owned by Daimler Chrysler. I'm not sure exactly where they ended up, but it was a total of 50 that were offered to the public. So a couple things I'd like to read here real quickly before we get into the presentation of the history and some of the features on the vehicle. This is exactly what Daimler Chrysler advertised. I'm not, no particular order here. I'm just going to read it. That when a 2004 Dodge VCA Edition Ram SRT 10, explanation point, awesome features, it reads. Personally signed by Daimler Chrysler Chief Operating Officer Dr. Wolfgang Bedhard, and that plaque is actually on the dashboard of the truck. It also says official pace truck of the Dodge Dealers 250 truck race, Daytona they're referring to. It was only offered in classic blue with the white combination as far as the stripes and so forth. It had a lot of unique interior features. It had the embroidered VCA logo on the floor mats. It also had the VCA logo decal on the rear bed as well. And as I mentioned, it claims here, again, 1 of 50 offered to the public. And then it goes into some of the performance. At top speed estimated at 150 miles an hour. It actually set a world record. It's a Guinness Book World Record. There's actually a letter in here that documents that to the owner of the truck. I believe it was 154 miles an hour, which was a really big deal back in 2004. 0 to 60 time was 5.4 seconds, pretty impressive. It's got the massive Viper 8.3 liter V10 engine, 500 horsepower, 525 pounds of torque. That engine is coupled with a 6-speed manual transmission. And again, they advertise at the bottom here, the fastest, most powerful production pickup truck ever. So this is a big deal. These trucks right now, these SRT 10s, are starting to skyrocket in value. But if you're looking for the cream of the crop of the SRT 10, which was a package on the window sticker, which I'll get into in a minute, the VCA edition is the one to own because it was the first ones released. It obviously is a very unique piece. And again, it has all the provenance that comes with it. So that's kind of the story of the truck and what it was. So let's fast forward now to the gentleman who actually won the truck. So there's a letter here that's included. Everything in this binder is obviously included, and everything is again pictured in the photo gallery on our website. So his name was John Lyons. He's actually become a friend of mine. I actually bought another vehicle from him recently. I bought a Belvedere with a Hemi, an original Hemi Belvedere, which is really cool. But anyway, this particular truck here was won by him. So this is the first thing here. is he was selected as one of the 49 lucky winners and so forth to get the truck. And then it goes into his deal as far as what Daimler Chrysler was offering. They offered all of the owners, the people that were lucky enough to win these vehicles, and again, they had to pay for them, but they just had the opportunity to purchase them. I want to be very clear. When you did this lottery, it was not a freebie. You had to actually pay for it, and then, of course, you know, because you were picked as a winner, but you still had to actually buy it. So what they wanted to do is they wanted everybody to fly down to the Daytona Speedway, which is in Daytona Beach, Florida. They would take possession of the trucks on the racetrack, which was really cool. They actually got to drive them around the racetrack, and there was some pretty important figures there. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go ahead and rattle this off now. Some names of people that were at the racetrack. Again, the first person again was the COO, Dr. Wolfgang Bernard. He was there. Again, he is on this plaque here. When the truck was there, he actually signed the valve cover on the engine of this particular truck. That's something he did with all the trucks. This hat was acquired down there with the truck as well, and you'll see his signature up here. So he signed this. He signed the glove box, and of course you got the, or I'm sorry, the valve cover. Then you also have his plaque on the dash as well. And then also there was a NASCAR driver, Brendan Gaughan is I think how you pronounce it. He was number 77. He actually signed the dashboard, which is as clear as day. Again, you can check that out in all of our photos. And he also signed the brim of this hat here as well, which is very cool. And then also present there was Jeremy Mayfield. He was also another NASCAR driver. He was number 19. He signed the engine valve cover as well. So the truck has authentic signatures from some pretty important people in the Mopar community, if you will. And I think that was a really cool thing that they did. So that hat is here. It's included and so forth. The other thing that they did, I told you I would mention the window sticker. This is the original window sticker that actually comes with the truck. It's been laminated to keep it as perfect as possible. I thought that was a great idea. They did this back when the truck was new, but you'll see Wolfgang's signature here. And again, you'll see the other signature here of Jeremy as well. So again, they signed all these bits and pieces that come with the vehicle. And again, this window sticker here, as I mentioned earlier before, the SRT group was actually a group of features that were offered on these trucks. Don't be confused. They made an SRT 10 and then they made the SRT 10 VCA edition. The VCA edition was a $5,000 charge, and it's exactly on this window sticker what was included with that particular package, and then of course everything else. So this truck had an original list price of $50,850. It was not a cheap investment back in 2004, as clear as day, but again, this is included. Also, why I'm on the subject of what's included, we do have the original owner's manuals. They have never been taken out of the plastic, including the leather case that holds the owner's manuals. We have a tool bag here with some tools. There's some things in here that are included. Again, all these are pictured within our photo gallery. There's also the original license plate bracket for the front. This is still in plastic, it's included. And then there's some other miscellaneous information like a Daytona 500 catalog. There's some original brochures and so forth, advertisements, things that were pulled off the internet and so forth. So to fast forward into the paperwork here, after he went online, scheduled for everything to fly down to Florida, he kept his airline agenda here, his whole schedule for the airline and so forth, which has his name and where he was flying into. And then, of course, there's a bunch of emails here that just kind of go over what the plan of attack is. They refer to it as the Viper Club America Drive-Away Program schedule of events. All of the events here for the day were all spelled out here, starting on Thursday, February 12th. VCA members arrive at the hotel and so forth, and it goes through the whole thing here. And then, of course, it goes into, after the fact, the world's fastest production pickup truck. They sent it to the owner, which again is cool. It had a top speed of 154 miles an hour, like I mentioned earlier. That letter's included. There's letters from the dealership thanking them for the drive and so forth. And then it goes into some more information here regarding all that. Now, why the truck was on the speedway, there was this mirror tag, if you will, that actually had a number on it, and it actually said SRT 10 drive away, and it had the original owner's name on it as well. And before I forget to mention, the window sticker also in the top has the name of the original owner here as well. So you can clearly see John Lyons' name there. You can clearly see John Lyons' name here. I think it's pretty cool that he kept that. And then there's another tag that was on the truck as well. Both of these tags are included. Once it was done, they received delivery of the vehicle. They drove it around the speedway and so forth. It was time to go home. We even have what some people refer to as the bill of lading. Up top here it says freight bill. This is from Reliable Carriers. This is an enclosed carrier company. They had the vehicles actually sent back from Florida to the owners of the vehicles, and that's included as well. There's some paperwork here that came with the truck. Again, all this stuff is included. This is the original purchase and sales agreement. Remember I said earlier, these were not free. They had to be purchased. He actually purchased it from Lakeview Dodge. They were located in Laconia, New Hampshire, very popular place. A lot of people know Laconia from motorcycle meets and so forth. This is actually the purchase and sales agreement. Again, he was from Rhode Island, Barrington, Rhode Island. This is actually his letter with the wiring instructions to pay for the vehicle. This is the actual MSO, Manufacturer Certificate of Origin. This is basically the original MSO from Daimler Chrysler on the truck. That's included. And then this is a copy of his title. This is where the story gets a little bit interesting. I had mentioned on the Car Fax report, it said it was a one owner. And I'll tell you, it's really not a one owner. It's a two owner. But depending on how you kind of cut the cheese here, it's pretty much, you can call it what you want. But the reality is it is a two-owner vehicle. So I'll explain what happened. Shortly after the vehicle was delivered, which was on March 17th, 2004 is when he actually got a title in his name. The copy of that title is right here. He decided to sell the vehicle to a friend. He just decided he would take advantage maybe of an opportunity. I think his friend was willing to maybe pay a little bit extra to get the truck or whatever. He realized he really didn't probably need the truck. His name was Alfred Almeida. Now, the deal with the Car Fax is they both lived in Barrington, Rhode Island. So because it was done so quickly from when it was titled in Rhode Island to, again, titled in Rhode Island into Alfred's name, and this is all the information that's included with the truck that shows the transaction between Alfred Almeida and John Lyons. So we got the bill of sale, we got the affidavit to deliver auto title. He actually financed it, Alfred financed it, so we got information from his credit union, we got sales contracts, we got insurance forms, we got canceled checks and so forth. All this information is included, so when Car Fax looked at the transaction, because it was Barrington to Barrington and it was done in such a quick time frame, they put something on the Car Fax report, which I can read later, or you can go on the website and read, where it basically just kind of says owner removed or something like this, assuming it was like a street address change. So it still shows as a one owner vehicle. So that's kind of the history. I guess you could say it was a one owner for maybe a week, but the reality is it's a two owner, but the guy who bought it, Alfred Almeida, has owned it basically since it was new. So that's kind of the story. Again, I mentioned earlier that there's a bunch of miscellaneous things that are included here. There's a picture when all these trucks were actually at the yard awaiting to get picked up to take them to the Speedway in Florida. There's a bunch of more information here, again, that you can read through. There's some original newspaper clippings about the truck. Automotive News did a big article about the SRT 10s. That's included. I mentioned to you that there's like a brochure in here. There's also a magazine, Motor Trend's Trucking Trend, and they do this whole big spread on the SRT 10 Ram that's unleashed. So all that's included with the vehicle. So again, this is not only a magnificent vehicle, but it's a vehicle that is heavily documented. Not always do you find these with tons of documentation. Again, all of it's been put in this nice binder here for you, and that's all included with the truck. So really quickly, I'm going to wrap up this presentation here because this is a brand new truck. There is really nothing for me to go over regarding this, that, and the other thing. The only thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to step out of the vehicle in a minute once I'm done here, and I'm going to just do a very quick walk around presentation. I am going to do an electronic paint meter reading because a lot of times, even though vehicles are, again, bought from the 80s and 90s and 2000s that have low mileage, it doesn't mean that they haven't had paint work. I've looked at many, many cars over the years that had no miles or that were in beautiful condition, but they had paint work. They had damage at the factory or in people's collections, they were damaged and repainted or whatever. So we are just going to do this paint meter presentation to verify this vehicle does have all of its original paint. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do an exterior presentation on the truck here with an electronic paint meter. What this paint meter does is it measures the depth of the paint on newer vehicles, depending on the make and the model. This goes anywhere from like a 3 to an 8. That way you know it's factory paint. So again, just because vehicles are newer from the 80s, the 90s, or 2000s, and they have low mileage, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has paint work. So what we're going to do here is just verify that it does indeed have all of its original paint work. So we're going to start off, first of all, by mentioning the color of the paint. The paint is actually called electric blue pearl coat, and these white stripes are actually called stone white. That's the color to reference in these VCA editions. It is very, very common because these were painted after the fact. You can clearly see where they taped them from the factory after the fact and where they cleared them. So the hood and the rear spoiler and the top of the roof, where everything has been done, are going to read a little bit higher because the reality is it has been painted. And that's exactly what the paint meter should do, is verify that. So we will notice on the front bumper, which is in absolutely beautiful condition, there's nothing worth mentioning. The paint meter will not read at all because it's plastic. And the same thing goes for the actual scoop. It doesn't read either because it's plastic. When you put the paint meter here, you can see that it's a few points higher than it should be. And once again, that's correct because it's been painted after the fact. So the paint meter is doing its job, and you will notice as I move away, it starts to drop. The reason for that is because when they painted it and they clear it, they actually blend it in when they do these stripes. That's how you do stripes. So as an example, if I move the paint meter over here on the passenger side, you'll notice you can still see because some of that clear was actually sprayed on top of the fenders. So it's exactly the way that it should be. When I make my way around the entire vehicle that has had no stripe work, you'll notice the difference in the numbers. So we'll move over here to the driver's side fender. You'll see it goes right down to a 6.5. If I get even further down here, you'll notice it goes to a 5.5. So it makes perfect sense that this has obviously never been touched, but the hood has because, again, of the racing stripes. So let's move over, and again, there's nothing on the front of this vehicle worth mentioning. Once again, you will find an occasional fisheye in any factory paint job. This has not been wet sanded and buffed. This has been detailed to preserve the original finish that the manufacturer offered. The wheels are in excellent condition. Those are 22-inch aluminum wheels. Beautiful shape. They have the original Pirelli Scorpion tires. So again, paint meter here on the door, we got a 6.5. So again, very consistent with factory paint readings. Down here, it doesn't read because this is plastic. If we move over here on the door, we got a 6.0. Again, factory paint. Now, if I were to make my way up top, you'll notice this is a 5.0. But as soon as I open the door here and put the paint meter up top, because it has racing stripes up top, it all of a sudden reads 8.5. If I make my way over to the actual stripe, look at the number, 10. It's exactly like the hood because once again, it was painted and clear coated. Making our way over to the back bed, you'll notice it drops right down to a 4.5. So again, factory paint as expected. Same thing here, 5.5. I'll do one more, 5.0. Now the spoiler, again, has been painted. So when we look at the spoiler, actually the spoiler is plastic as well, so it's not going to read. But the tailgate has been painted because of the stripes. So watch what happens. it goes to a 9.5. So you can clearly see, and because again they feathered it, my guess is this is probably going to read somewhere around 8 or 9. Yep, 8.5, because once again it was cleared. This bumper back here is plastic, and again, there's not any scratches, there's no dents, there's nothing worth mentioning on any of this car. It's in beautiful condition. As I said, factory paint was not perfect. Once in a while, if you look at things at a certain angle, as an example on this back bumper here, under this clear coat, there's this little tiny line here that's in the factory finish. That would be very normal, especially on a plastic bumper. A lot of cars from this generation did have those types of things. But now we're making our way over to the passenger side of the bed. You can see it's a 5.0. Again, I'll do it here, 5.5. I'll do it here, 5.5. Once again, I'll do it here, 5.0. As soon as I go to the top, we got a 9.5. So the readings are perfect on this truck. If I go to the white stripe area, which is a little bit hard to reach, we're hovering around that 9 or 10 mark, as clear as day. Getting into the passenger door, again, I don't see any dents, no dings, no scratches, no chips, nothing. This here, 6.5, flows exactly the way it should, 6.5. Again, the bottom molding here, this is plastic. And again, getting on the fender, we're at a 6.5. So you can clearly see as I go higher, again, where they cleared it, here, it's probably going to read an 8, exactly what I said, an 8. So it all makes sense. Just want to make sure that we clarified. Again, this has got all of its original factory paint, which has been completely verified with the paint meter. Thank you. Just real quickly to touch base on the exterior. The paint job on this, as I will show when I go over it, is in absolutely spectacular condition. At MS Classic Cars, we completely detailed it, so it shines absolutely beautiful. Part of the SRT 10 is that very unique style hood. It's a beautiful hood. It's got the scoop that's built into the middle. It also has the rear spoiler on the back. That's kind of the big trademark with the SRT 10s. Of course, again, this one being blue with the white just really sets it off because it's a VCA edition. As I mentioned earlier, it has the VCA edition logo on the rear part of the bed, which looks spectacular. It also has upgraded wheels. They're 22-inch wheels. They're aluminum wheels. Those were part of the SRT 10 package. These tires are actually Pirelli Scorpion tires. They are the original tires that were on the truck when it was new. So although they might not be completely safe based on their age, they're in beautiful condition and definitely something that we did not want to change because they were original to the truck, and I'm sure they'll stay on the truck as long as the truck is kept in a collection and kept with low mileage. So again, outstanding condition on the outside. Getting into the inside, it just carries through. The truck still smells new. Everything inside this truck is absolutely in new condition. Everything works. Even the air conditioning still blows ice cold. It does have a few cool things, like I mentioned earlier, like the embroidered floor mats as an example. Again, it's super comfortable. I've never actually been in one of these trucks before, but when you're sitting in it and you're sitting in the normal driving position, the shifter is right here. You don't even have to really reach forward or reach back. It's literally at the same position as the armrest, which I found really cool. The clutch is super easy to operate. It's really awesome. Again, the glove box was signed. It still has the airbag warning tag hanging from the glove box. That's the original tag. Left that in there, obviously, to preserve some of the originality. Looking at the engine compartment, that's the other thing. When you're looking at these trucks online, a lot of times these trucks are not kept up properly. They're not stored properly. You open up the engine bay, everything is fallen apart as far as all the insulation. You see parts that are oxidized, they're deteriorating, hoses that are all, real fragile and stuff. We've seen a lot of those cars over the years. The belts are all rough. The engine bay in this looks absolutely beautiful. Besides servicing it, we detailed at MS Classic Cars. You got to make sure to check it out. in our photo gallery, and I will say the same thing about the undercarriage. The undercarriage is absolutely spotless underneath. For a vehicle that's 17 years old, going on 18 years old, it is absolutely beautiful underneath. It's got all of its original tags, paint marks, chalk marks. Again, we took photos of everything. You got to check it out. And one more time, in case you didn't hear me in the beginning, the truck is powered by an 8.3 liter V10 Viper motor that is pushing 500 horsepower, and that motor is coupled to this 6-speed transmission. There's really nothing else to say. So I appreciate you watching this video. If you have not signed up for our VIP email blast at MS Classic Cars, please do that. We have thousands of people that follow us. It's the best way to keep in touch with us. We also are all over social media, so please follow us on social media as well if you have not. Again, we appreciate you subscribing to our YouTube channel and being a part of MS Classic Cars. We are a small organization, but we're doing great things, so please continue to watch us. I'm going to go ahead and start this vehicle, let you listen to how beautiful she runs. And by the way, it is a push-button start, so I'll put it in right now. Fires right up. Radio sounds beautiful. It's got a beautiful sound system, including a subwoofer in the back. You just can't say enough about these trucks. Thanks again for watching.